Hello, lovelies. It's another day. I hope you're doing amazing. Today, I want to talk about self-sabotage. I'm currently sitting outside in my patio, and you might hear dogs barking in the back. Maybe mine. They're just jamming together, I guess. And so today is a beautiful day by the grace of God. And as I'm sitting right now, something comes through me. And I am experiencing one of those days where I purposefully put myself in my cocoon, or as I call it, the feminine living paradigm. You might have heard me saying that before, or the paradigm of purpose. And it feels very much like being in a bubble because it's not very much what you see around in the culture, what people, or in general, what we are taught to live as, from an energy of completely surrendering to God's commands and guidances with our day and spending the day with Him on purpose. And as I'm sitting doing this exercise that I absolutely love doing, for many reasons, because I get to just sit back and relax and follow His commands. I move when He says you move, and all of this is through my intuition, because God speaks to us through our intuition, and you can clearly put apart your own voice to God's voice when you have learned how to do this, when you have learned to tune into His frequency and listen to what He has to say. And today is one of those days, and it's a peaceful day. I promise you that once you start learning how to tune into this frequency, peace and joy and bliss is purely on the other side, and it's literally the experience of heaven on earth. And I know that might sound crazy or far-fetched, but this is the truth, and you can only experience it if and when you actually give yourself the permission to do so. And the permission to do so comes through our own ability to contain God in our heart, in ourselves, and in our lives, in our minds. And as I'm sitting through, I'm realizing that the reason why, apart from the fact that most of us aren't taught to do that, meaning tuning into His frequency and spending the day with Him, the other reason why somebody might refuse, or why it might be a challenge for certain people to stay in that frequency or to just tune in, is that we reach our upper level, so the upper limit. And so I am going to circle back with a book that I read, and I can never really remember exactly what is the title, so it's going to be in the show notes. And it's The Upper Limit, I think, that is called, or maybe that's the upper limit that he's talking about. It's from Gary something, I can never remember, but I will definitely put the link in the show notes. And so this book explains that when it comes to allowing ourselves to have good things in life and to reach for what we truly want, the reason why we sabotage, and that's some form of sabotage, is when our cup is too full for ourselves and then we say no. We are the one who stop the process of getting more, because we are already tapping into our the most stretched level of our mind, as to this is our upper limit, this is the maximum that we can get, this is the maximum that we can hold, this is the maximum that we can receive, and that's where we say no. And so that's why we go back into our comfort zone that is not that comfortable in the first place to start with. And so if you have been trying in any areas of your life to just better yourself and do something like literally that can be in every single area of your life, where you have been working to improve yourself, and so for a few days you were there, for a few weeks, whatever, you were making progresses, and then you hit plateau, and then that plateau actually isn't really a plateau. It was your mind saying, I have enough, let me go back to my comfort zone. And so then, because you haven't paused at that moment and processed the amount of goodness, the amount of positive results that you were getting, and being comfortable with it at that level, and just accept that this now gets to be your natural, your minimum effort, your minimum level, the absolute normal level that you should be living your life at, because you have reached a new height, right? And that new height remained a new height. The work of embracing and anchoring that new height as the new medium or the new low for you wasn't done. And so back to where you were, you put yourself back into that comfort zone that wasn't comfortable in the first place, because there's a reason why you wanted to leave that comfort zone, right? And so then you find yourself, oh, I'm back where I began. And you start hating yourself or beating yourself up for not sticking with that new whatever resolution was. And so as I'm sitting here with God and allowing Him to fulfill my heart to the maximum possible, when I do this, tears come up in my eyes, and my heart feels so full. And that truly makes me realize that God, we cannot contain His greatness. And that applies to the relationship that we have with Him on a daily basis. If we tune into that frequency of staying with Him throughout the whole day and tapping into His energy, His guidance, and His amazingness to fulfill our hearts and to guide us, truly tap into that paradigm and stay living in that paradigm, we rapidly, very rapidly, because you can't compare God to any of the good progresses that you have or that you will ever experience in life. He is greater than anything we can ever experience. And so if our mind gets too stretched out from progress, imagine how stretched, or it's actually to a level that we can't even imagine, how stretched we will get when we tune into His frequency of and trying to receive His God, His goodness, His abundance, His confidence, His guidance throughout the day as we live, and His bounty, His everything that He has to provide for us, His abundance. That we chase His abundance every single day in many ways, shape, and form, in form of love, in form of attention, in form of money, especially because we think that by chasing money we will get the love and attention we really need, but truly what we want is love and attention as to love. So what we truly chase throughout the days is love, isn't really money, right? And so when we are so relentlessly chasing and striving and even struggling, for most of us in this world, is most of us struggle, right? What we call the rat race on a daily basis. We choose to struggle when we can just choose to sit back and lean into Him and allow Him to fulfill us that way. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't go after the things that you want to go after. Your desires are completely God-given. He placed that seed in your heart so you could go after it, but not on your own, with Him. So you never forget that He is the only provider in this world. And so that's when we are so caught up into how hard it is to reach our goals, to get the things that we desire. And we forget that we will never reach them, or in the amount or in the abundance that we seek, without his help. When we allow ego to make us believe that we can get there by ourselves, and we get so impatient, we get so frustrated, and this is where we trip over things. And this is where the temptation to literally cut the corners, to forget about our beliefs, our convictions, and because we get so frustrated and so tired and so impatient with wanting the things that we want, that we get very easily seduced by evil. And this is where he literally snatches us back from God's mission and seduces us with what's easy. And when you're tired and you're like just so really tired, and you're on a diet, for example, you go home and you have to either cook or eat the cookie jar, the cookies in the jar, not the jar. But you get me? What the hell what is the option you're gonna go for? You're gonna go for the cookie because it's easy and it's an instant pleasure, and so on and so forth. And the reason why you fall into eating those cookies in the jar is because the work to not be tired, to not be not struggling, to not be on a hurry, to not be striving, to not be impatient has not been done. Because again, we fall so easily into thinking that we can do things by ourselves, and on our own timeline, because we get so frustrated, we want things faster. And this is exactly where we trip over, as opposed to just leaning back and understanding that I'm his creation. He made me that way, and I will get my heart desires when he says so. In the meantime, all I gotta do is to keep working towards following every single steps he tells me to do, right? When he tells me to do something and I feel scared, I still show up and I still do it. I ask for him to remove all of the stresses and all of the fear, to make me change my mind, to really rewire my brain, help me rethink how I see those things that make me scared, and why I'm feeling scared as to fulfilling his next step. And fully, truly, wholeheartedly, blindly follow his lead, as to whenever we feel, that he said something, that we need to go forward with this, and that's the only thing that we need to, I would say, quote unquote, stress about, even though it's not a stress. It's a lifestyle where you actually allow him to take over wholeheartedly and fully. It's a frequency and a place to be in your life only when you have let go completely of ego. Earlier I was on my praying mat and I was thinking of that as well, and something came up, and it was about the way that when we are kids and we grow up and we start, like in the adolescence, we start to rebel against our parents because we don't want to do what they say that we should be doing. We want to do things by ourselves and make our own decisions and go on and live our own lives. And our parents mostly are just trying to protect us from this world, because we don't know until we have to be adult, and then we realize this whole thing was a scam. And so it is the same relationship with God, where you actually have to understand that he knows better, and that it's not just that, it truly is that everything in your life is going to be so much easier, so much more peaceful when you follow his guidance, and that you belong to him, and that you will return to him, and that in order to reach that level, a complete, full, and the most genuine death of ego has to happen. And in order to reach that level, to fully humble yourself to his guidance, the death of ego is something that I don't have the answer. I can tell you how it happened for me. It happened through my entrepreneurial journey, where for many years, because being an entrepreneur, you can just, when you look around on Instagram and online and stuff like that, it looks so glamorous. It looks so amazing. On the other side, before reaching those heights, there's a whole lot of fighting and battling against yourself. And so a whole lot of, I will do it myself. I can do it myself. It's quicker, a whole lot of ego, a whole lot of it. And after years of getting, I'm trying to put the words together, of getting destroyed, because it's a battle. And after so many years of fighting against myself, reaching a point where I couldn't anymore, right? Burnout and all of the things, because unfortunately that's part of the journey of entrepreneurship. There is no journey, as far as I know. Maybe parenthood, but I'm not a parent just yet, so I can't even tell. But as far as I know from my own experience, there is no journey than entrepreneurship that will teach you how to kill your ego one way or another. You may learn the sweet way, and most of us do learn the very, very hard way. And so this is how I reached that level of, I'm not even saying I'm proud of whatever, when I'm having heights in my businesses, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. When I'm reaching 1 year, 2 years in business and I'm doing the anniversaries, everyone is like, oh my God, you should be so proud. Oh my God, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, oh, please, I'm just so humbled, and I'm so I'm so grateful. The word I'm proud never gets out of my lips anymore, unless just one exception is if I want to say to someone that I'm proud of them, for example, my husband, my whomever, right? If I want to say I'm proud of you because it's the truth, and still it doesn't come from a place of pride. I have completely let my pride in that regard. The word proud is it's out of my vocabulary, and when I hear it, it makes me cringe, and I'm thinking, gosh, if you knew what you're saying. And one more reason and motivation that you might have to just really focus on doing whatever it takes to let your pride die, your ego, really, it's not really pride, it's really the ego, is that I remember, and I keep reminding myself that excuse me, I need to drink. Okay. Is one thing that we all know of. The devil, evil, Shaitan, knows, Satan, he knows that the thing that God hates the most is ego. He knows that for sure. He knows that firsthand because he has experienced it firsthand. When God presented Adam to him and he refused to prostrate in front of Adam, what was it for? It was his ego saying, I'm better than this human, I'm not gonna, kneel in front of him or whatever. That's exactly how he became who he is. That's exactly what made him be and do all the things he's doing against us, and that's precisely why he hates us so much, is because he was in his own ego, right? And he knows that whenever he can get you living in your own ego, he knows that there is no way in hell that God will approve of this. He knows that there is nothing he hates the most. Evil knows that God hates ego the most, right? So if you feel like you haven't been sold on the idea of letting your ego die, I hope that this makes it, because if it doesn't, I don't know what will. And so that's the message for today. Gosh, 20 minutes. But 20 minutes of pure knowledge. And I hope that you will start working on yourself that way and allow God in your heart, because that's the answer. Living in that paradigm, of letting him in your heart on a daily basis, not just on a daily basis, throughout your whole day. Living in that paradigm of heaven on earth is truly possible, even if it feels crazy, even if it sounds crazy, because you have never experienced it. I guarantee you that this is possible. But as I said, it's a conscious choice throughout the whole day until it becomes your normal. Because it is possible to be at that point. Live in your purpose, and I promise that all the things you're chasing so relentlessly, they will start chasing you instead, because God will make sure that it does. You can never lose when you are with God. And this is what I'm gonna leave you with. You have a beautiful day. I love you.